Okay, slope and finding the equation, right?
Wait,
So we
what
got,
question is this?
this is going to be actually for 8 or 9 and 10. 9,
Oh, off data?
9 and 10, not 8, 9 and 10, just 9 and 10. We just did 8. Okay, this is basically for 8 you got to or for 9 you got to come up with the slope, right? For 10 you got to come up with the equation of the line, right? So to find the equation of the line, you have to find slope. So they're going to kind of trick you on 10 because you got to do both 9 and a little more. So if you know how to find slope, that's half of 10. Okay? So what's the goddess equation, by the way?
Y equals mx plus b.
Y equals mx plus b. What is m? The slope. We call that rise over run a lot of times, right? Okay? And what is b?
The point where x is 0.
It is. It's the point when x is 0. It's when it crosses the y-axis. It's called the y-intercept. Okay? It's also, like someone used the word the other day, it's a point of reference where you can start from. If I can start from that point, then I can rise and run. Right? If I can start from this point, then I can rise and run from it. Or I can rise and run from it. Right? Or I can rise and run. Or I can rise and run. Right? So it just depends on how I'm looking at my problem. So it's a point of reference. Okay? To find the slope, okay, we have a great equation, but nobody ever seems to remember. But it's m is equal to y sub 2 minus y sub 1 over x sub 2 minus x sub 1. Okay? Meaning that these guys are x and y and x and y. And you can either have these be 1 and these be 2, or these be 1 and these be 2. It really doesn't matter. And so in that aspect, why they have it as y sub 2 minus y sub 1, I don't know. Because I mean, why not just have y sub 1 minus y sub 2? They both work. So it's a little confusing. It doesn't matter which one goes first, but it does matter that they go in the same order. This is why I came up with flip it and smack it. Okay? I came up with flip it and smack it because I have dyslexia and I have trouble plugging numbers in. And I notice that a lot of my students have some form of dyslexia. And when they plug numbers in, they have trouble. Okay? And I had a student argue with me yesterday, my favorite student, and he was like, I'm fine, I'll do it this way, I'm fine. And then plugs them in backwards. And I'm like, really? A wrong? So, you know, we can do this, or you can find another way to do it. The way that he looked at it was, hey, I'm just going to go, when I say flip it, what I mean is, I'm putting the x to the bottom, right? And so a lot of times, one student said to me, hey, can I just take the difference of these two and the difference of these two? And I'm like, exactly. That's all you're doing. That's all you're doing, right? And so, but you want to make sure that you're doing it in the right way. So I just keep the 4 on top, because that's the y. And I put the negative 5 on the bottom. And like what he said was, oh, so outside on the bottom, or inside on the bottom, outside on the top. And I'm like, hey, whatever floats your boat. If that's what makes you remember, then that's how I would do it. He's like, that's how I'll remember. And then he did it backwards. I mean, hey. And I'm like, but didn't you say inside on the bottom? He's like, yeah, isn't that the top? He's like, oh, yeah, it is. I mean, the thing is getting them in the right place, right? The reason I say y on top, okay, is because that's what the slope is. The y's have to be on top for the slope, okay? It's a difference. This is all about the difference of the y's over the difference of the x, Okay? The other thing is, if we look at an axis, right? You always see y is on top, right? On every single graph, y is on the top and x is on the side. Okay? So, y is above x. So that's kind of how I like to just remember it. The y is always above x, so I just always keep it there. And then I flip this one, so that the y is above the x. And because they're in their column, in what's called a matrix, this is a 2x2 matrix, right? And I used to teach higher level matrices for linear algebra, right? These are things that you will see in the future, but right now you won't. But it will get you ready for that. Okay? Now, everything else, the smack it part, okay? That's just kind of remembering the rule, okay? I flip it, y on top, x on bottom, y on top, x on bottom, and then I smack it. It's a negative condensation, right? Smacking somebody is kind of negative. So that's why I call it flip it and smack it. You smack up top, you smack down below, and we're good to go. Okay? That's your slope. That's all it is. So if you want to take the difference of the y's, right? 4 minus 8, and the difference of the x's, -5 minus 3, that's fine with me. Whatever it is that gets you to remember it is perfect. Okay, so slope is equal to 4 minus 8, which is -4, and -5 minus 3, which is -8, right? So in this case, what goes into both of those numbers? 2 and 4, right? So if we started with just 2, 2 goes into 4 how many times? -2 times, right? Negative, and goes into -8, -4 times, right? So if we want to get rid of those negatives, what would we divide by? A -2? Right? Well, what is 2 times -2? -4, right? So yeah, we could have started with a -4, it doesn't matter. But as long as we get down to 1 over 2 equals m, we're happy. Okay? 1 over 2 equals m, we're happy. Alright? Alright, so that's flipping this back in. That's y equals mx plus b, finding the slope. Okay? Now to create the equation, I need to take this slope and put it into this equation to find b. I need two things. Two things. I need b and I need m.
We already got M.
That's right. We already have m. So now all I need is b. Simple, right? Okay, so y equals mx plus b. So, do I have an x and y?
Yeah.
Where?
-5 and 4.
Sure.
3 and 8.
This one or this one, right? So you choose the one that you think is easiest to use. Okay? Now, which one do you think would be easier for you to use?
The one
3
3
and 8.
and 8? Yeah. It doesn't have a negative, so it's got less issues with it, right? If there's no fraction there, cool, less issues. No negatives, cool, less issues. Small numbers, cool, less issues. Right? So always go with the one that has the less issues. Remember that for life. Okay? That's a key in life. Alright, so go with the one that has the less issues. So we got 8 is y, and we got 3 is x. Right? And then we have m. M is 1/2. Okay? And then b, oh, we just don't know it yet. So that's the whole purpose of this. We're plugging it in, we're finding it out. Okay. So, then I have, remember, this is 3 over 1. So it's 3 over 2 plus b is equal to 8. Say again?
6.5.
Yeah. Because what we're going to do, subtract 3 halves. But on this side, instead of subtracting 3 halves, wouldn't it be easier to subtract 1 and 1/2? Because now if I have 8 glasses of water and I drink 1, gone. Okay, now I got 7. And I drink half of that, I got 6.5. Right? So if I have 8 glasses of water and I drink 1.5, right? Then I'm left with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.5. Right? Simple. Okay? And then this becomes b is equal to 6.5. What do I need to make this equation? I need m and b. Right? Because y equals mx plus b, right? So what I want to do here is go back to y equals x. Now, notice I put a space here, and I always leave a space here. And I start this in geometry, and in Algebra 2 we're going to do it again, and in pre-cal do it again. Because when we start doing vertex formulas and stuff, we need to start keeping those spaces out there so we know how to manipulate the equation. This is the manipulation of the equation. Putting in b and putting in m. M is 1/2 and b is positive 6.5. And that is the equation that we're looking for. That equation goes through these 2 points. Okay? So this line will run through these 2 points.
Sweet.
All right? Questions?